Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Mujeeb. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Mujeeb. In this series of the dars of the traditions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, but yesterday we were presenting a hadith, and we shall look at it again. And in that, the Holy Prophet ﷺ had spoken of three types of prayers, or three types of states of prayer, which are definitely accepted. The prayer means that when one presents one's desire before Allah and asks Him for its acceptance, the acceptance of prayer is up to Allah. Sometimes Allah accepts, sometimes He accepts it quickly, sometimes He delays it, and sometimes He accepts it in a different form. And this is also a form of the acceptance of prayer, which the Prophet ﷺ mentions in his books, that sometimes it happens that one prays for a particular thing, and it's in Allah's knowledge, Allah's perfect knowledge, it is not good for him, but one asks for that out of his ignorance. So Allah then, as a favor on him, Allah does not accept the prayer in the form that he is asking for it. Allah accepts it in a much better way. So this is a great blessing of Allah, and that He bestows His special mercy upon us, that Allah makes our prayer better and accept it in a better fashion. So three types of prayers are always fulfilled. One is the prayer of a father for his son. A father has love for his children, and when he, from the bottom of his heart, when he prays for their benefit, then Allah accepts that prayer. Therefore, it is a great reward is promised to those who serves their parents in the Holy Quran and in the traditions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And both the parents' service should be performed, and so one should regard this as a source of acceptance of one's prayer, that if there is anything in one's prayers which is lacking, then one's prayer can be accepted because of their parents, because of their service of the parents. So this should be taken care of. The second is the form of prayer who is done by someone who is on a journey. Imam Sahib says that sometimes, no matter how rich someone is, when they are on a journey, sometimes they are in a sort of persecuted fashion. Sometimes they have to undergo certain dangers, or sometimes some other problems, issues arise, which creates fear for them. So a person who at that time presents his desire or his need or his pain to Allah, then Allah definitely accepts his prayer. Looking at the state of his heart, Allah accepts it. So this is why some holy men have said this, and this examples of this are found in Islamic literature, that holy people said that if someone wishes to get a particular prayer of his to be accepted, then he should leave home and embark on a journey. And on the journey he will have problems, and in that state of mind there will be an ache in the heart, and that will then reach such a stage that his prayer will be accepted. So this is what the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, that one of the people whose prayers are accepted are those who are on a journey, although there are other meanings associated with this as well. The third type of person whose prayers are always accepted is someone who is persecuted, or he is oppressed, and some cruelty is being promulgated against him. Then this creates a poignancy in his prayer, and a restlessness and an anguish. And this has been described by the Prophet ﷺ as well, that when a person who is desperate or anxious, then at that state, when Allah prostrates before Allah and prays, and he expresses his worry and his weakness before Allah, then Allah accepts such a prayer which is offered at a time of anxiety and when one is hurt. It is a prayer that is accepted by Allah. So these three categories are mentioned here. That is, the first is the prayer of a father for his son. The second is a person on a journey, and the third if someone is persecuted. So these are some great prescriptions for acceptance of prayer, and we should always remember them and use them for our benefit. The next tradition been taken from Bukhari, and Imam Sahib says this entire collection of hadiths are mentioned repeatedly in different ways, and it is as if the Holy Prophet ﷺ used to say something one day, and another day he would say something else. And it is a great favor, a huge favor of the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that they heard these blessed words uttered by the blessed tongue of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. They heard them and kept them, remembered them, and protected them until such time that the people who were writing the traditions, who were recording them, managed to record them. So one should, a believer should try to make use of these precious treasures. So apparently this tradition says something very simple, but it is so useful. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said that he used to say that sleeping before Isha prayers and to speak for no reason after Isha, he did not like this. He preferred that people slept straight after Isha prayer, as soon as possible after Isha prayer. Obviously, the reason for this is that if one has to get up early, one is not only has to offer his Fajr prayers, also has to offer his Tahajjud prayer. So obviously the natural need that one's body has, which is to have some rest and to sleep, that also must be fulfilled. So in order to do that properly, one should sleep soon after Isha prayers, and we should avoid needless and pointless talking. Sometimes people are so the Holy Prophet ﷺ did not like sleeping before Isha, and obviously there is a damaging there is a reason for that, because then that may result in one not being able to offer Isha prayers, which would be a great transgression against ourselves. And also, in order to sleep straight after Isha will result in one getting a longer time to perform Tahajjud and Fajr prayers. So we should after one performs the obligatory prayers during the day, the 5 daily prayers, then by sleeping early after Isha, one will be able to wake up early and offer the extra prayers as well, that is the Tahajjud prayers. And sometimes one loses out on this opportunity of doing Tahajjud prayers, because when people speak afterwards and they talk amongst each other, whether it's among men or among women. Sometimes people just speak for no apparent reason. There are many topics. There is no lack of topics that people speak of. People sometimes speak about politics, or sometimes they make jokes and things, and then they only go to sleep once their eyes are about to shut. So there are things these are matters which can be spoken of at a later date, and in fact not talking about those things is not going to harm anyone. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ has very beautifully, he has expressed in a very short few words, he has taught this to us, and this was the practice of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And this is, we learn this from the words of the tradition, that the Holy Prophet ﷺ disliked sleeping before Isha. So it doesn't mean, he didn't just say to do this to not sleep. He said he actually disliked it. So, and then wal hadith abadaha means that the talking after Isha prayer, he disliked it. Of course, sometimes one does certain things at night after Isha, such as the recitation of the Holy Quran or some other good things, pious things. But to speak things, to talk about things which are not beneficial at all. And sometimes in some societies there are strange traditions. Sometimes people sit together and joke, and sometimes they speak of different topics, and they are basically pointless and without any benefit. Sometimes people talk about a trade and about, or sometimes they even speak against someone behind their backs, which is wrong in any case. So this is not right at all. And the loss that one suffers after that is that one doesn't sleep properly, and as a result of which one cannot wake up for the Tahajjud prayer properly. So we should always remember this, that whether it's Ramzan or not Ramzan, this should be our habit, that after the Isha prayer, before Isha prayers, we should not sleep at all, and then after Isha prayers, one should not waste one's time talking pointless matters, and one should not make ourselves devoid of gaining the benefit of and the blessings of worshipping Allah at night. May Allah grant us the capacity to follow these precious commandments of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ameen.